So I've had a couple weeks working with these Paleblue USB-C rechargeable batteries. See, on each Paleblue battery is a USB-C port, so you plug this in to charge it. And so the other day I was on Amazon, I was looking up USB-C charged batteries, and I came across some interesting ones that I'm gonna test out here. In this flashlight, I have two Paleblue AA batteries. They replace the alkaline batteries that they came with, and they're pretty bright. I recently searched for USB-C charged lithium-ion batteries, and this is what showed up. Exact same size and shape and even placement of the USB-C port. So let's give these a try in the same flashlight. I have my Paleblue batteries and these third-party USB-C charged lithium-ion batteries. Paleblue alternative batteries. You ready? Here we go. Right off the bat, this isn't as bright, but something else is happening here. See, I get a lot brighter and then it goes a lot dimmer. Now, these flashlights must have some type of safety in place because there's a problem with these batteries. They're not 1.5 volts. These ones say 3.7 volts and the Paleblue are 1.5 volts. Now, they both charge the same way. They both look the same, but in certain electronics, these will fry them. Now, we got lucky. These flashlights aren't letting them fry, although I'm curious if it's destroyed the bulb. Paleblue is also a lithium-ion technology, but it has, right up here at the base, a BMS, a system that takes the 3.7 volts that the lithium-ion battery puts out and steps it down to 1.5 volts. These ones are just 3.7 volts. There is no step down, and these could destroy your flashlight or electronics. But what's the big deal? It's just a flashlight. A flashlight in a certain situation could be the difference between life and death, or safety and hazard. If you buy the Paleblue battery, you're going to get a reliable 1.5 volts throughout the entire life of its full charge, because the BMS is going to guarantee that it will be 1.5 volts. Your flashlight won't dim until the batteries die. If you're like me, your journey with rechargeable batteries is not going to start at the Paleblue 1.5 volt lithium-ion batteries. Instead, it's going to start with nickel metal hydride. I have a ton of these, and I've been using them for years, and they're really not that bad, except these are 1.2 volts nominal, whereas these are 1.5 volts throughout its life. So it's actually going to start around 1.4 volts when it's fully charged, but very quickly it'll get down to 1.2. It'll stay there for a long time and then dip down to 1.1 and 1, and at that point, they're considered dead, and it's time to throw them on the charger. Let me show you why this is a problem. So inside this flashlight, I have two Paleblue AA batteries. Each one outputting 1.5 volts, but they're in series. We have one going through the other. So in order to figure out the actual voltage, we take the two voltages and add them together. 1.5 and 1.5 is exactly 3 volts. Nickel metal hydride, on the other hand, is 1.2 volts. Now the difference between 1.5 and 1.2 isn't drastic. We're talking 0.2 volts. And at the beginning, they're not going to seem that bad, up until we add another one in line. And we can see the difference. This one is exactly 3 volts, whereas this one is 2.4 volts. That's 0.6 volts off half a volt, and that makes a big difference when it comes to the brightness of your flashlight. If we were to double these, a device that requires 4 AA batteries, we're now at 6 volts with the Paleblue and 4.8 volts with the nickel metal hydride. That's an entire cell off. So if I added one more cell, I'd get the same amount of voltage. But there's another problem. These are not the same weight. The nickel metal hydride weighs significantly more than the Paleblue. So if you're trying to pack these on a trip, they're just not as convenient to use. And one more thing to take into account, if I'm backpacking and this battery dies, I've got to take along with me a special type of charger that will connect to some type of solar panel and let me charge this up. Paleblue has this already figured out with their built-in USB-C, and I can use their Paleblue solar panel with 2 USB ports to charge up 8 of these at the exact same time. I'm going to be lucky to find a charger that'll charge up 4 of these out in the wild. So when it comes down to it, you've got your Paleblues at 1.5 volts and your nickel metal hydrides at 1.2 volts. These other USB-C charged batteries don't say anything about not using them in a AA, despite them being the exact same size. These are 3.7 volts. We've talked about adding up these cells at 3 volts and 4.5 volts, but if your device is expecting to use 2 cells and you were to replace them with this at 7.2 volts, you're going to fry it if they don't have some type of safety in place. There's nothing on here that warns me that these are not AA's. So when it comes down to it, it just makes sense to buy a brand that you know is not going to mislead you. The Paleblue batteries are 1.5 volts, so your best bet is just to go with those and not even worry about these other ones.